Just say I do.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Behind the Veil, a show that provides insight into the world of weddings. I'm your host, Keith Willard. Welcome back to the show. After a year of nothing and praying for new clients, all of a sudden, all of our wishes have come true. But be careful what you wish for, because now it's starting to feel like it's getting too much. Yeah, I know I'm feeling it. And I'm starting to find out that the needs of our clients are different than before. So how do we avoid burnout? How do we use our resources to grow our business for the clients that you want and at your pace? Well, we have an amazing guest today. Her name is Aleya Harris. I'll be introducing her shortly. But before I bring her on, let me introduce Marcy Gutenberg with an affair to remember by Marcy. Hi, Marcy. Welcome.
Hello, Keith.
So I'm super excited about our guest because we just got to see her at NACE 2 weeks ago at Vegas?
We got to see her at Vegas, and we'll talk about it a little bit more, but she was just scooping up those awards, let me tell you.
Oh my goodness. Amazing. I mean, she's incredible, and I'm so excited to kind of pick her brain about everything that we're going through. And talking about picking through brains. Hello, Brooke.
Hello,
gorgeous.
Brooke. Hi,
Hello,
gorgeous. Hi, everyone. How are you?
It's good.
Good,
It's
how
nice
are
to
you?
My
see
award-winning team.
Exactly. So congratulations again for the Telly Award for Behind the Veil and for our Innovator of the Year. Hello.
Likewise.
I mean, my God, look at us. Anyway.
Takes a village.
Yeah,
And I
it takes
will
a
have
village.
to say, I just want to point out, we had, how many viewers did we have last week? In less than a
18,000.
week.
18,000.
18,000. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
18,000 people watched our show about wedding cakes. It was,
Wedding
Cake is still in.
it is.
Cake is it.
Well, okay, so let's talk about our guest today. Her name is Aleya Harris, and she joins us with her decades-long plus career, including being a chef, a catering company owner, a marketing executive for a major food source corporation. What? I mean, you're like 22. I mean,
Obviously.
I mean,
it's really good eye cream.
I mean,
Girl
oh
pop.
my God. When I was looking through
Send
your,
some over.
I know, but when I was looking through your resume, I almost had a heart attack because I feel like so like sad. I felt like I've been sitting on the damn
feel
couch eating
sad.
potato chips for the last 2 decades.
Do you feel inadequate, Keith Willard? on today?
Totally. I mean, you now own the Flourish Marketing, an agency dedicated to helping service-based creative entrepreneurs reach their full potential through done with you and done for you marketing, education, solutions, etc. I mean, now you're your own boss,
Yes.
right? So
Yes.
you totally get where we're coming from when it comes to sometimes being overwhelmed with business and opportunities.
No.
Couldn't
In
possibly
fact, you
imagine.
can't tell, but we're on my yacht right now. Like, you can't see the waves. I'm doing this just for kicks.
Oh my goodness. Well, and Marcy was telling us before we went on live that you're helping her with her Instagram and her website, and that she's going to be tuning into your 4 o'clock today, which is you're doing a something about entrepreneurs. And what was it, Marcy?
I have a master class today called
a master class
of your entrepreneurial
Hero's journey.
What's stopping you from reaching your businesses happily ever after?
It's amazing. I mean,
Interesting.
right? All that you're doing is just amazing. So,
Her sessions are just, I mean, if you've never attended a session, her sessions are so jam-packed,
yeah,
so engaging, and just filled with so much content.
That's
Well,
the
and
goal. I
and
know
that's
people
the-
come into my sessions like, I'm just going to do this while I like prep lunch for the kids. And like, you're going to be sorry. You're going to wish you took notes. In the beginning, I always say, make sure you take notes. And I can feel the eye rolls until at the end, they're like, is there a download? Is there something? Can I get the notes? And I'm like, I told you.
So, but let's talk about that. I mean, because here we are, if you had talked to us a year ago, we would have all been dying for business. We're like, anybody, just anybody call me. I'll do any event. I don't care.
Plan your dog's third birthday party.
Exactly. I'll put myself in a bubble suit. I don't care what I have to do. Anything.
I'll change religions. We can do a bar mitzvah, all kinds of good things.
Right.
I got you, girl.
Right. But here we are. And then now all of a sudden the vaccine comes out, the world comes back to life. And now, I mean, I'm having to try to reassess the kind of clients and the price point and everything that I'm doing while in the midst of being busier than I've ever been. And it is crazy. So, you know, and I feel like all of the vendors that we work with down here in South Florida are kind of in the same boat. We're all in that kind of like moment of how do we do both? How do we service all these amazing new clients that we have while adjusting our futures to attract the clients that we want a year from now, 2 years from now? I mean, that is a big thing to try to get to.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Do you have a beginning for this? I mean, I know. I mean, I feel like it's such a huge thing. It's like, right? I feel like it's like such a huge thing. And I feel a little bad about the fact that I'm actually complaining about there's too much business. But I mean,
yeah, how very dare you?
Well, it's just like we went from 0 to 1,000 overnight.
Yeah.
I say that now when October hits, at the end of October, I'm going to be like, Keith.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
So, Aleya, I mean, what are you hearing from your clients? You know, give us a little idea of what the world is like outside of our perspective, because
outside
we know what we're doing. Yeah, outside of South Florida. A little bit
of the same. I'm in California, but it's still very much the wedding boom. This is the busiest wedding season that we have seen in a very long time. It always is so interesting to me about human behavior, though, because during the pandemic, all of the educators, myself included, we were like, okay, guys, now's the time to find your ideal client and do your marketing and do this. And people were like, oh, or bonbons on the couch. Like that was kind of like the reaction. But now that we're here, they're like, oh, this is what they meant. And that's just human behavior. So the first thing I want everyone to do, like, because I've heard people and clients come to me like, oh, I should have, oh, I wish I, look at that. Let's just let it go.
Right.
It's in the past. So some of that emotional hang up is preventing you and blocking your energy from moving forward. So you got to let go of what you coulda, shoulda, would have done. And now here in this moment, you have to do a couple of things. You have to be aware of what you can and cannot do. You have to initiate your own transformation, and you have to make sure that you maintain a balanced perspective. So the awareness of what you can and can't do is not so much of a capability or an intelligence issue. It's about a time and space and mental capacity issue. And also realizing with this boom, don't be stingy. Like, hire someone. It's okay. Right? If you need to hire someone to do the very basic thing, which is to protect your time and energy, do that. Right. And remembering that hiring someone doesn't necessarily have to be like, I have to hire a new manager, or I have to hire. It could even be hiring like a personal assistant on Upwork that will save you 10 hours a week. Something very similar and simple. But you have to have that awareness level first and admit to yourself that although you think that you're Superwoman, Superman, you're not. So take the cape off is not cute. That's very 90s.
Right.
You know, 90s are making a comeback.
Unless you're,
I was about to say,
and you can drop from the ceiling into the stilts, you can work that out. Keep that. Yeah. She didn't even have a cape, I don't think.
No,
maybe should have.
No capes. You know, what was it that I was watching that was like capes are dangerous? It was some parody.
Well, Madonna. I mean, hello.
I mean, yeah, right.
My queen.
Somebody stepped on her cape, dropped her right into the audience. There you go.
See, there you go. No capes. No
capes don't make you a superhero. They just make you somebody wearing a cape.
They make you somebody wearing a cape. They're a liability, actually. There's a good fan going.
Use snaps and Velcro.
It goes bad.
I was going to say, it could get caught in that fan or something.
Oh my God. Yes, it's so true. But, you know, being aware, and I love the fact that you started this with, you know, it's almost like forgive yourself for not, you know, shoulda, coulda, woulda, right? Forgive yourself for that. Be done with it. Let it go. Start facing forward. So you're now facing forward. You first said be aware. So how does somebody really become aware of where they are right now with their business?
So the first thing that you need to do is set up goals to be aware of. Often we don't actually, when we get super busy, all of that lovely KPIs, the key performance indicators, the goals, the milestones, we're like, yeah, that was great. But today I'm focused on, yeah, that was such a lovely intellectual exercise. We're just going to put that in the box down there and forget about it, right?
Right.
Whip those back out so that you can get clear in black and white what is happening.
Right.
Do some actual measurement and get out of an emotional state of being and running your business. Because your business and as an entrepreneur, you are an emotional creature because you're a human being, and you don't want to fully compartmentalize, but you need to get some depth and some distance from the actual thing in front of your face. So ask yourself, well, how many hours have I spent? How many hours have I slept? When was the last time I saw my spouse? Right? And really look at it in black and white and get that awareness. Another thing is that you can do is to check in with your physical body. Where does it hurt? It's kind of like a doctor. Here,
okay.
Here.
You're like, just like all over.
All over. Just all over. It hurts all over. But that's a very good point, Brooke. If it hurts all over, you need to sit down. You need to sit down and take a break. I don't care about that wedding. You have 10 minutes where you can sit down and pause. One of the things that helps kind of, I guess, proactively pause is to create rituals for yourself. So what does your morning ritual look like? And what does your evening ritual look like? Do you just get up and the ritual is phone, hand, face? Like that's not a ritual.
Keith brings snacks.
Right.
I budget cigarettes in there somewhere, like as far as breaks.
Internal here with what could happen, right? Like, I mean, like, what do you guys do when you wake up in the morning? Is it phone, hand, face?
No, actually, I have dogs, so I'm forced to take them out and take a few moments not to be on the phone, looking at the TV, being depressed about the world, all that stuff, news, morning news, all that crap. So there is that moment. And I try to make sure that I have at least an hour from when I wake up to when my computer starts, at least, because I need it.
Yeah, and you need to form your own thoughts about the day first before you let the day inform you on what it's going to be, and everybody else comes in and all the world comes in, and then you instantly become overwhelmed. It was like, why did I even go to sleep? I'm just as tired as I was before.
So true.
Right?
It's like checking your phone before you get out of bed. Because that's set the tone for your day. If you don't check it, Keith's smart for that. Take yourself, give you that hour. If Keith hasn't texted me on phones down, coffee, outside, don't talk to me for an hour. Don't call, unless it's an emergency. Unless your dogs are on fire or something, I can't be bothered.
I do a little breathing. I wake up, I do a little breathing, and then I do check my phone.
That doesn't
because I want to kind of see where I'm going to have to start my day. Like, what's the most important thing for the moment?
You prioritize.
I prioritize.
By the way,
you guys charge your phones? Do you charge them right next to your bed?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yes, actually.
No. I charged mine in another room, and I got an actual alarm clock. Now, I didn't get one of the because that's a bit aggressive. But I got one that has it's like a soft wake, and so it slowly turns on the light.
Oh my God! Of course you do.
Music sounds and times happen. Fabulous. It's fabulous. So that has helped considerably. So then my phone is far, I can't reach it. It's in another room. And I can start my morning ritual. And I have it written on a piece of paper, things that I want to do in the morning, so that it's not on an app on my phone. Because then, soon as the phone is in the hand, the email goes open, email, Slack, I'm in it.
Oh, 100%. And I love the fact that you just said, write it down, because a lot of times late at night, for me, 8:30, no judgment, ladies. Anyway, just saying, I will write it down because something will hit my brain. And if I don't, it will stick there and it'll keep me up. So, I get that. So the morning ritual is super important. So, after your morning ritual, what next?
Then call Keith.
Right. And he's going to be like, and now you're supposed to do all of this today. It's about being intentional.
Right.
What is it? What are your, I love what Marcy said. What are the top 3 things that you need to accomplish today? If you have really more than like 3 priorities, truthfully, like 1 is good, 1 main priority. But if you have really more than 3 priorities, you don't have priorities. You just have a list of stuff.
Right.
So what are the 3 things you need to accomplish today? And are they rolling up to your overall goals? Are they hitting within your zone of genius? Are there the 3 things that only you can accomplish? So if you have on your list, you need to make sure to organize your calendar today. There are some amazing assistants out there that could do that for you. Right. And so your top priority thing should be the things that allow you to bring your secret sauce, the thing that you were put on this planet here to do, out into the world and focus only on those things. Like, for example, I'm a Story Brand certified guide, and the guy that wrote Story Brand is named Donald Miller, and he grew this amazing multi-million-dollar company in a very short while. And when people ask him, well, how does he do that? He said, I focus on what I need to do. I know that in order for my company to be successful, all I need to do all day is create content. So he has a strict writing schedule. He hired people to do the rest because he understood that at the top of the company, as a visionary, as a strategy setter, his goal was to create pumping out content because no one else could do that thing for him. So when you're looking at your day and you're feeling burnt out and overwhelmed, are you feeling that way because you are trying to do jobs that you're not supposed to be doing?
So, okay, I'm, as a small business owner, and somebody that's fairly new, I'm 5 years into it, take out pandemic, 4 years into it.
The lost year.
Right, exactly, the lost year. Having to think about hiring somebody outside of Brooke, right, is scary. I mean,
plus I'm a lot. Listen, I'm a lot. I'm enough. Sometimes too much.
Well, and you mentioned Upwork, which I, by the way, just found out like 4 or 5 days ago, and I just did my first assignment for Upwork on nice. There, and was like surprised at how easy it was actually. But I don't know how to divvy up the smaller stuff. I mean, how do you get to a point? And I know that we're probably talking about basics here at this point, but if you're a person that's used to getting everything done on your own, writing all of your emails, doing all the little stuff, how do you prioritize the things that you need to give to somebody else?
Well, first you start
especially hold on, because what this really is about is especially when you're used to doing everything and you're a control freak. So there's so much you're used to doing it, and 2,
I feel like
you just don't want to let go sometimes.
Well, no,
that's it.
Well, and and the thing is that also a lot of times I get into this mindset about, well, it's just faster if I just do it myself.
Very that.
And that is going to mean that you won't be able to scale your business the way that you want to. So,
but if you're training the fool underneath you to do some stuff, eventually it pays off.
There you go.
You can get 2 cruises in this year.
It will be faster that one time. So, if it is literally truly a one-time task, you might just do it yourself, right?
Right.
But if you are going to have a task that is repeatable, you need to train somebody how to do it. The first time, it will take more time. But then you look at your day. I have a great app on my computer called Timing. And it automatically tracks what I spend my time on my computer. And then I looked at it one day and I was like, that sure is a lot of email. That's a lot of email. And I do not need to be living in my inbox like that.
Right.
So I actually the first thing I got was an assistant that helped me with client work. And I do recommend that when you get the first help, you go for either the biggest pain point where you're like, man, that's like 20 hours a week I could give to someone and chunk that away.
Right.
Or you go for, depending on what your problem points are, the thing that will help you generate more revenue, if that is your thing. It has a tie to revenue, because then it also feels less burdensome to hire that person, whether you have an employee or a freelancer, because well, this person is a salesperson or a marketing person, so they should be paying for themselves. Right. So if they're making sales calls for me, or if they're writing email sequences for me, that their activities are making me money. There's two sides to look at it as well.
Right.
Also, don't forget to think about what your hourly rate is. And it should be the highest of everyone in your company. Right. So if you're like break it down for yourself. Okay, my hourly rate is $250 an hour. Mm-hmm. So if I'm going to spend 10 hours doing this, it's $2,500.
Right.
However, this person's hourly rate is $30 an hour, and that's $300 that I could spend instead. Right. So if you look at the two of those together, it's kind of a no-brainer. With some training and writing down and starting your standard operating procedures, you can then begin to delegate. Now, the control freak thing comes in when, for me at least, when I don't feel like I have my secret sauce down on me. How are they ever going to be able to do it like me? How are they ever going to be able to communicate like I do? That just means that you need to write it down in a way that's replicable. One of my favorite books as of recent times is Built to Sell by John Barlow. And it talks about what an actual company is. So if you are just doing the work and you are basically still trading your time for money and all of it is in your head, you don't have a company, you've created a job for yourself. And often as entrepreneurs, that happens incredibly easily. Instead of doing that, think about how you can systematize and write things down so that your company now lives outside of you. Because your goal was never to work 80 hours a week. That was not the goal when any of us started any of this. The goal was to make money doing what we loved and to flourish in business and in life. So when you are able to write them down and then hand it over, then you'll get that breathing room. But in that growth period, then that messy middle, it will feel busy, but you have to keep your eye on what you're trying to do it for in the first place. So once you write down your secret sauce and communicate that secret sauce and train on it, then you can go and get massages in the middle of the day. It's like working towards a goal.
Okay.
Right? So I think that's really important for people to understand that it's not going to get easier right away. You're gonna have to go through this kind of hard moment where you do put in,
but it will get better.
Some more extra hours, and then it will start to relax. But you got to put in those extra hours. But I do want to go back to the point that you said about taking your emotions out of it. And I think that's so important as us as small business owners to because it's our baby. I mean, what do you mean? This is my life. What are you talking about? Right. But I think that as business owners, we do have to go, okay, I got to take a hard look at what I'm really spending my time on and where the money is going and without being emotional about it.
Right. And think about the grander purpose of your business. Yeah, your business might be your baby. I guess if I was going to say it was my business, my baby, yeah. But for me, my business is a means to an end. My business is the vehicle through which I help people and through which I leave a lasting legacy of abundance for my future children. It's a means to an end. And yes, you put a lot of time, energy, and effort into it, but the time, energy, and effort is not the end goal. The end goal is something bigger and grander than just that. So as soon as you get your sales in place, you get your operations in place, and you get your finances in place, the top 3 things that you need as business pillars. From there, then you can be able to focus on what is that higher kind of purpose for you in your life and your business. My goal, I love saying I'm the owner of Flourish Marketing. I mean, it's cool. It's cool. It makes me feel pretty spiffy. That's not all I am, and that's not all I want to do. And when I pass away and I have my obituary, I don't want it to just be, she owned Flourish Marketing, was a kick-ass marketer. I want it to have a grander purpose. She helped this many people. She lived this kind of lifestyle. She left this legacy behind. This is how she loved others. And she happened to do that through this empire that she built. So it's also a mindset of you in relationship to your business and realizing what you want and what the next step is. A person that has a job needs to be told what to do and needs to be told what their career success plan is. Right. An entrepreneur is always looking for the next and the next and the next, the highest, the greatest, the tallest. So now that you've gotten your business and you love it and you adore it, the real mark of an entrepreneur is now can you let it go so that you can get something else, something bigger, something greater? What's the next iteration? What's the next evolution for you?
Nurture it.
Then I feel like I'm an hourly because I've always wanted to do this. This is like, I can't imagine wanting to do anything else. I mean, I had this conversation and I've brought my mom.
I can't see you doing anything else.
I've brought my mom up several times on this show because she's ridiculously smart and she has
we love Brownie.
She knows how to code. She has an electrical engineering degree. She's got a law degree. She's like incredible. And
she could wear cape and we would not be mad.
So she actually said to me, you need to make a decision about whether or not you want to be a manager of people doing event production, or if you want to do less events, but for a higher end client where you're personally involved.
Question to pose to you.
And she said, you got to decide which one of those you want to be in order to get to that point. And I thought that was, well, obviously a smart question, but it also made me really think about what do I really want to do in this life? Do I continue wanting to be a hands-on event planner where I'm in it, very close with my clients? Or do I want to have multiple event planners below me that I'm overseeing, and they're the ones that are really, really, in it with those clients? Mm-hmm. And I'm
Which one did you pick?
I picked the first. I want to have less clients.
Yes.
But higher end, but I want to be personally involved. I don't want to manage people.
That's still the next thing. Managing people is not a goal. So if you really look, you look at like Amazon, there's like 5 million people that work there. But if you really look at like the small business people that are high revenue and high profit margin, they have very small teams. Very small teams. So for me, I don't hire people just because I'm like, I'd like to feel like I can add another notch to my employee belt. Like it's like, I don't want to just hire to hire. You hire those key people to get you where you need to go to maintain your profit margins and hit that next level. So if you're like, I want to work, I want to be in it, I want to be loving it, then that is the zone of genius that we were talking about, where it's like, well, Donald Miller needs to write every day. You need to be with clients. That is your secret sauce. And that's what you want to do. Right. But there's so much more to running a business than that, right? So then those are the things that you delegate out. If you want to hone in on what you love so that you can do more of that.
So he can delegate out to his staff or to outsource, correct?
Or to outsource. Yeah, you don't, when I say delegate to people, don't hear W-2. You can hear W-2, you can hear 1099. You know what I mean? You don't have to have, it doesn't have to be full employees with benefits. You also don't have to hear 40 hours a week. It could be 10 hours a week. It could be 5 hours a week. And you delegate to people who love that. And that is their zone of genius. So that everyone is working and doing what they love to move you forward.
Wow.
How would something like this apply to somebody who is actually working for somebody else? Mm-hmm. Like, let's say you're a person who works in the corporate end of the event industry.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. If you work in the corporate end of the event industry and you love it, keep doing it. But then it becomes about communication. So when you're an entrepreneur, you're like, this is my zone of genius. Do you agree, self? Yes, I do, self. You're fabulous. Do that thing. Right? The communication channel's real short. When you're working inside a corporate environment, you still need to have that communication, but since it's with other people, it's going to be a little bit more involved. So then you need to get clear on who I am, what do I want, what problem do I solve, and what do I do better than everyone else? Then talk to your manager and say, this is what I want to do. I see that maybe there is an opportunity for this. Maybe we can create one, or maybe there isn't one, but I'm just going to put that bee in your bonnet. We're just going to put a pin in it. We're going to put it right there. And then we can have this conversation later. But it all starts, like I said, about awareness and clarity. And those two things will have you function as a professional, a value-driven professional, more effectively than anything else. Those are great starting points. And then also, by the way, going back to the beginning of what we were all talking about, is how we beat burnout. You feel burned out because you're dizzy and you're confused. If you get to that point of clarity and you start to simplify the things that you really, truly are responsible for,
right,
you're good. Easy peasy, right? So easy. Well, do that. Now do that in the next 5 minutes.
I was about to say, I'm like, it sounds so super easy, but
no problem.
But
right on top of that, Rose.
I say this to my clients all the time. It's like, as an event planner, I feel like I'm a meteorologist. My clients are in the middle of the hurricane. They've got their family, they got their mess, and I'm showing where the storm is going and preparing them for when it hits, kind of moment.
Yeah.
So, but now as somebody that's in the middle of a burnout kind of moment, I'm in the middle of the hurricane. So how do I find out where I'm going, and how do I prepare for where it's about to hit? I mean, if I'm in the middle of it, like right now, I am swamped. It's I'm so.
Wait, how many phone calls? Right before I got on, he had just taken how many phone calls? Did you say
10?
Oh my gosh, 10 and how long?
10 in like 15 minutes.
Oh,
wow, Brooke's looking real lazy on the show today.
No
wonder why you're feeling burnout.
I don't want to beat on a dead horse, but I'm sure.
No, please beat on it.
Probably delegate from that
conversation.
Right. So like even when I'm coaching people, nobody else can coach people. Plus, I wouldn't want them to. I really like that. Right. But after the coaching call, there's someone who organizes the recording, someone who takes the notes, someone who does the client follow-up, someone who makes sure they're booked. So I'm literally just the person in the seat doing the job that I love to do. So is there someone, again, that you could delegate to? I won't beat on that again. Another thing that you can do is called a WHOOP plan. It's called WHOOP. But if you can say WHOOP, why not?
WHOOP. Yep. Got it.
So the WOOP, and I actually happen to have it sitting right in front of me. We had
she's getting ready for 4 p.m., ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, she is.
Exactly.
This
actually was not part of it, but I think, Marcy, you might have participated in it. We had a virtual business abundance retreat, and I wrote this 36-page workbook that included recalibration strategies to help you. And so I was like, wait a minute, I have one of those, but I was like, let me make sure I get all of the acronym correctly. So it's WOOP. You have your wish, your outcome, your obstacle, and your plan. So again, it's about clarity so that you can bring it out in front of your face. Your wish is your goal. What is it that you really are trying to accomplish? And popping that through. So through all of the haze, through all of the client calls, today you're like, you know what? My goal is that river and arrow with that florist locked down. Let's pick that.
Right.
Just one thing.
Right.
So then you're like, that is the best and highest outcome from that is that the florals are great, the price is great, the contract is signed, river and arrow are happy. Sweet. Right. Now the third O, what is the obstacle that can get in the way of that? One of the obstacles that we often don't think about is ourselves. Truthfully, that's like in all of my WHOOP plans.
Yeah.
That's my number one obstacle. Me getting distracted. Me not having enough time. Me answering a phone call that I shouldn't answer. Me getting sucked into my email box. That's a huge obstacle to me making sure that I get to that florist so that River and Arrow can have that floral experience that they're looking for. Right. So then now let me take a plan for that. Okay, that means that I know that I need to contact this florist at 12 o'clock. It's going to take me 15 minutes. I'm going to put that on my calendar at 12 o'clock. I'm going to shut down all of the other windows that are not needed on my computer. And I'm going to call that florist at 12 o'clock. Right. That's the plan to get me to where I'm trying to be. Burnout also is like really cute cousins with the victim cycle. So it's like, so this is usually what happens.
Super great. Love that. I love
you're
that.
You're like, oh, I'm so burned out. I'm so burned out.
No, I love that.
So do this, and this. And you're like, no, but I can't. I can't. It's one with me.
I have no idea what you're
I
talking
want to be in
about.
California right now.
I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. That doesn't sound like me at all.
I said nothing but California.
Oh my God.
So,
way to call out a bitch, honey. I'm just saying.
I will say this though, because I've been sitting on this for a minute, listening and being polite. Which, you know, if you know the real me, what this magic? Because Keith Lloyd Events is magic. I'm so proud that I'm a big part of that, and I've been handpicked and chosen to have the position in this company that I have.
Handpicked.
I can do a lot of stuff. I'm smart. People don't know that. Actually, I'm really smart. Keith's personality. And he's like the spider. He's Charlotte in the web. He can snatch his personality. It says that I'll never have that. Everybody has their own magic. That's his magic.
Stroke.
He can handle things. He can give me things to do. The logistics I'm great at, and I have a good personality, and I'm fine. But I'm not Keith Wood. I'll never be him. But I get to be a second face for him, and I didn't sign up for this to not do it without him. So I love you, and his personality. He needs to take those calls. He can get the calls and then send things to me out, no problem. But that is how the start of this all goes. It is Keith Willard. It's not me.
Well, but you know,
and it never will be.
I agree with the victim analogy because I do that. And that's why I was like, way to call out somebody because I'm like, oh, God,
I did not know that. I am not calling out Keith intentionally.
Oh, no, I am a big fan of calling out myself on my own shit. So I get it, yes. And I love that. And I think that's really important for people to hear and maybe call themselves out on a little bit. It's like, how much of my time is spent complaining about how busy I am?
Right. And then are you then using busy as this weird badge, right? Busy as a badge of honor. And it's like, that's not cute. I'd rather use, oh my God. I
love that.
Beach so long.
I love that. I mean,
had too many Mai Tais today. It's just so rough. Like,
why is the rum always gone?
That's the one I'm gonna pick, right? And it's not, Brooke. It's not to say that. So for me, I have a very big personality.
What?
I also am the personality of Flourish Marketing. Yeah. But I've let go on some of the calls, and then I hire people that also have really good personalities. Like you, Brooke, you seem like you have an amazing personality. So the first people, they come into me, they talk to me, I'm the one that's booking them, I'm the one that's doing their strategy session. And then I introduce them to the rest of my team. They know that I'm always there. I'll pick up a phone call, maybe send a random text like, how you doing? Maybe usually they'll have a GIF in it. I'm a real big fan of gifts. So that I'm still there and I'm still present, but in order to be able to truly serve, I need to stand in that if that's what I want to stand in.
Right.
And not realizing, because I thought that everything required the Aleya personality.
Right.
And I'm just like, as wonderful as I am, that is just not true. It's just not like, even the copywriting, I was like, no one can copyright like Aleya Harris. I mean, I am a really good copywriter. However, with training and oversight and just belief and faith, there are really good copywriters on my team as well.
Right.
And then that allows me to set that higher level strategy that informs the copywriting. Because if the strategy is off, it doesn't matter how good of a copywriter you are, it's going to be off. So then I stand again, I've honed in on the things that I need to do, the core things I need to do to make my business successful.
Remember that one speech that one time?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I couldn't stop. Red flag folders full.
I was about to say. So, okay. So we take the emotion out of it. We call ourselves out on our own shit, right? And what is something that you can recommend to small business owners or business owners in general that they can do today or tomorrow to make their life easier or better outside of hiring something personal that they can incorporate into their day that will make it more efficient, even though it doesn't seem like it. Like, I love the fact that Marcy says I do breathing exercises. None of us are surprised, by the way, that she does breathing exercises in the morning. So, because she's the most calm human being I've ever met. She's like totally zen.
Well, now we know why.
Very centered. Marcy is very centered.
Very centered.
Yes.
I'm so the opposite of her.
If you asked my husband that, he would say absolutely not.
Hardly any filter.
But you know, is there something that you can recommend to people that by the way, her internet just dropped out. Anyway, is there something that you can recommend to somebody our viewers that said, look, this is something that you can do today to make your life easier tomorrow?
Yeah. So there's kind of two things, because there's kind of two sides of the coin.
Yeah.
The first thing is about excavation, and then the second thing is about replenishment, because with all the swirling around, you got to get rid of some stuff.
Yeah.
And I loved what you said in the very beginning, Keith, about forgiveness.
Yeah.
There's a really simple exercise that I like to have people do. It's called forgiveness and light. So you're going to get a candle and you're going to sit in front of yourself. It's not going to be like one of those like Bath and Body Works candles that you're just like not one of those, because you're going to have to sit in front of it, like in front of your face for at least probably 15, 20 minutes or so.
Beeswax, non-smelling.
Right.
Gotcha.
Or light spa, maybe.
Yeah.
So you'll light the candle, and before you light the candle, you're going to ask for the light. You're going to ask for the light to surround you and to fill you and to protect you as you enter into this excavation clearing moment.
Gotcha.
You're going to open your eyes. You're going to speak forgiveness into the candle. And why are you speaking into a candle? Because it's symbolic and energetic for transmutation and transformation. So you're taking what's coming out of you and putting it into the light and truly letting it go as you transform into a more calm, peaceful, forgiving version of yourself. So forgiveness could sound something like, I forgive that client for being a dick.
Good for you.
Right? and you can just let it out. Because you're doing this, you're by yourself, you're not recording it, you're not writing it down, no one's around you. It also could sound like, I forgive myself for judging that client for being a dick. I forgive myself for judging myself. I forgive my father. I forgive my mother. And you keep going into it. Should feel almost like a purging. You might cry, you might get angry. Some people start shaking. Some people feel nauseous.
Yeah.
If you sit there for 5 minutes and you just say, I forgive myself for judging myself, it's not working. Like, that's not how this works. You need to keep going until you really do feel complete.
Right.
The last thing that you do is you say, I forgive myself for forgetting that I am divine.
That made me uncomfortable. Is that weird? Like,
maybe not. I don't think it's weird.
It's almost like a catharticism that you're like getting rid of all of this extra baggage of weight on your shoulders.
Yeah, but
one thing I will say though, don't use patchouli. I did that when I was very young, and I am telling you, I have hallucinations from that.
Maybe I should get it. I'm just saying.
Maybe it might work for you. It just didn't work for me.
And centered, Marcy. It's the patchouli, not the breathing.
The patchouli.
But you know, when you say I forgive myself for forgetting that I'm divine, is that what you said?
That's what I said.
Right? That made me a little uncomfortable to say to myself, I'm divine. I just I don't know how to explain it. It's almost like an ego thing. Like, am I really divine?
What you're not saying is I am the God of this.
Right.
That's not what you're saying. You're saying I'm divine. I'm a divine being, just like everybody else.
You're worthy.
Worthy.
I'm worthy. You're transcending this human experience that you're having and realizing that there's always a higher perspective to take. It's not like I have an ego. In fact, it's the opposite. It's that sense and recognizing that sense of connectedness and groundedness and shared experience that you have with everyone on a higher level, not necessarily just on the physical level.
In other words, I'm not saying I'm Beyonce, you know? I'm
No.
not saying I'm Queen
Not
Bee.
like divine. Honey, I'm divine. Not
I'm
like
divine,
that.
you know?
There's no
Okay.
neck and fast happening in this experience. You are divine. You are part of something bigger, and the problems and the forgiveness and all of that you've released it into that which is bigger than you.
Love it.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay. That made me go, I get that. I totally get that. Because, and I say that because, I try to always say exactly what I feel. I don't, obviously I don't mince words when it comes to
it. I love it.
What did I just miss?
Oh, you missed a whole bunch.
Anyway. I told him he was divine. He said no. I explained. He said yes. I get it.
There you go. But there is
red flag folder,
right? But if somebody's watching this and they're thinking, "Oh, this is a whole bunch of kumbaya shit," I think it's important to get past that and try it. I tell people, I'm like, look, if you really think it's all this kumbaya shit, try it once, maybe try it twice, and then judge.
That's like my mom always used to say. You can't say you don't like a piece of food unless you've tried it.
Right.
I also think that, we've been just inundated over the last many years here with so much baggage and stuff on everybody's shoulders. And time is we're always having to be available. The texting, the this, everything is instantaneous. Buying is instantaneous. And unless we start gathering and centering ourselves, we're always going to be at the beg and mercy of everything that is around us. And in order to have that control, you kind of ground yourself. That's how I feel.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. You can't allow everything that's around you to dictate you. Right. You're supposed to be operating in life from the inside out, not from the outside.
And it's so easy to succumb to your surroundings sometimes too. It takes that individual and that mental place in your mind. You have to be there. And know and be aware that you see it coming, because if you don't, it can swallow you up easily.
Right. And it's funny, I started doing bioenergetic business coaching because of kind of what you were saying, Keith. People would come to me and they would be like, I'm burned out and I don't really know where I'm going and don't really actually know who I am or what my why is or why I'm actually even owning this business anymore, but could you write me an email sequence that'll fix it all? And I'm like, that's not how this works. None of this works like that. So, and then I would talk to them and in strategy sessions or even in coaching, and we would get down to the root kind of issue and we would change and pivot things. And then they were able to show up more authentically in the world. They believed more in their messaging. So I can sit here. I am a marketer with 13 years of experience and several awards under my belt. You want to talk about a marketing funnel? We can totally do that. 100%. However, that is not going to help you right now when you are exhausted and you're lost and you're confused and you're off track. That's not going to help you. What you need right now is not a marketing funnel.
Right.
You need something a little more woo.
You need that.
We go through the excavation, and you said there was 2 steps: excavation
and replenishment.
And replenishment. What's the replenishment?
So whatever kind of makes you happy that has nothing to do with work. When was the last time you went outside and played? Right. That's most people's reaction. When was the last time you had a dance party or you did something without an aim? Without any type of end goal. And I'm not saying blow off the whole rest of the day. Take 15 minutes, have a dance party in your office, in your living room, in your
Take your assistant out to Benihana's for lunch. It's been 2 years.
Oh my God. That's true.
You take your dog out every day. Right? You take your dog out every day. Your dog sits there and smells the roses. What are you doing while the dog is smelling the roses and the flowers and the blooms?
Looking at my phone. Oh my God.
Exactly. Put it away.
Brooks is needing something.
You're not playing, you're not engaging, you're not stepping out of your own world for just a second, like 10 minutes. Right. That replenishment, you can't do that if you are sitting in your phone, on your phone, having it absorb everything that is you, right? You need to be able to accurately approach the world, and the only way to do that is from the true center of who you are. Right. So play. I know you expected something super more profound.
He needs to take this class. He definitely needs this class.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Or you can come over and have
little
drinks.
commercial for you there. Oh my God, look at that.
This is where if I had a bottle of tequila, I'd be like, also me.
Yeah, and you need both because, like, so I give this analogy. Like, the nastiest thing I can think of is hot oyster juice. Like, hot.
What?
Right? Like in a bucket. So
Oh,
imagine in a bucket. It's gross.
Oh my
Everyone
God,
says, yeah, that's the
so
taste.
gross. So gross.
So then you have like a nice bottle of Vouv or a nice bottle of Dom champagne, really nice champagne that you really like.
Right.
And you're like, I know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to pour the champagne in this bucket of oyster juice and it'll like somehow magically be a bucket of champagne. We're just going to like pretend like the oyster juice isn't there. So what do you end up with?
Is that how I get shit done, Keith?
I was like, how gross is that?
We're done.
Oyster juice and not realizing that? I thought that was hot dog water.
Hot oyster juice and
hot
food.
oyster juice. Now you just have
What?
hot oyster juice and champagne, right? Like, yummy. That's why
Bubbly
you have
hot
to do
oyster
both.
juice.
You have to-
Yummy.
Boil your hot dogs in
Activate.
beer.
You throw
Yeah,
out
there
the
you
oyster
go.
juice
Right.
because otherwise it's nasty. And then
Yeah.
you rinse out the bucket.
Right.
And then you pour in the champagne. Right? That's why you need both. So you can be like, okay, I'm just gonna go out and play and just forget all of that other shit over there on the side, right? That's not how this works. Or if you just excavate and then the next thing that you do is you get on your phone, all you're doing is pouring nasty oyster juice back in. You need both.
So you got to excavate, and I love it.
Put it on your calendar from 2 to 4 today. Keith's time.
Right. I know.
Don't answer Brooke. Who cares if she's on fire? Let the dogs be in the house. You know what I mean? Like,
but I do think
that.
I think that's important to do, but that you have to do both. And I think that was really smart to even bring it up because I would have done one or the other.
Yeah, most people would have. You're like, okay, so what can I do? I have 10 minutes. I'm just picking the one thing that I like that you said the best.
Right, exactly. I'm like, okay, replenish.
The
Done.
easiest thing.
It sounds good in theory, but I also know my boss because he's like, well, how do I pay, this needy bitch down here? That's me.
Right.
I get it. And I know he works so hard. Like, burnt out isn't even a word for a good amount of hours.
We all work really hard. But I think that's really important that you do both and that you remember to do both. That, you can't always play and you can't always excavate. You gotta
take
do
that
both.
me time.
There's
Go to
gotta be some
Vegas.
balance.
Won an award.
That was definitely replenishing for me.
Right? Oh,
you can tell last week
it was
I was
crazy.
still suffering from coming home, and this week I'm like, I'm home now. Look at me, I'm good. Completely two different looks, two different girls.
Oh my goodness. Oh gosh, we ran over. Anyway, so we still got another 9 minutes. Excellent. All right. So now that we're kind of winding up the conversation, what is something else that you feel like is really important for people to remember about their day, about who they are, about what they're doing? I mean, for me, sometimes I have to remind myself that I really love what I do. Like, I have to stop and stop thinking of this as a job.
Yeah.
The whole reason I even got into this is because I really love it. I mean, I love what I do. It's something that I crave. It's something that I've always been drawn to. And when I get kind of bogged down in the emails and the text messages and the Instagram DMs and all of that, and sometimes I have to go, wait.
This is why I left the Ritz.
Right?
To do me.
Exactly. This is exactly why I left the hotel industry, because I wasn't enjoying my life and I didn't feel like I was going in the right direction. And I need to stop and go, okay, I need to find the joy again.
Yeah, absolutely. That's super smart.
That's a hard that's a hard thing to do, to stop yourself, because if you're like most small business owners, we're basically in the office by ourselves.
Yeah.
60 hours a week. There's not somebody calling us to remind us, hey, did you go, did you
on the rat rail?
Yeah. Did you remind yourself that you really love what you do?
Where are the linens? Did you place the order for the linens, darling?
Right. Exactly. But I mean, is there something that you have really seen in small business owners that, you think that they really should remind themselves of this, or they really should just have this as part of their day besides the excavation and replenish piece?
it kind of goes back to what I was saying a little bit earlier, is that you're bigger than this. Your identity is not just this. And
I love that.
You remember the why. So I love how you said remember the joy. You definitely remember the joy as much as possible, but also remember your why. Brooke kind of nudged it a little bit too. Like, you got into this, it's like, not the Ritz. It's like, okay, but then, what is it? What is that why? What is the whole point that you're doing this for? And when you can recenter on that, then you also might behave a little bit differently. So I kind of recentered on that before, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to take it down this service line, or I'm going to remove this portion, or I'm going to do that because none of this really fits. This kind of got added on, or this was that test that I was doing that one time that now I've been doing for a year and a half. Like, let's just, is this about who I am and what I want to do and how I show up in my business and outside of my business? And remember that compartmentalizing is unnecessary. You can just be yourself all the time, and that your business is not all of you, it's a part of you.
Right.
And how do you show up and remember that?
I love this. Somebody recently said that worrying is making yourself do it 2 times.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting that wrong.
That's
but
that worry.
Let me worry about it. If I'm going to cry, let me cry one time. I don't want to cry twice.
But if you worry about it, it's just doing it twice.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I think that's a really hard thing for people, that, especially in our business. I mean, we've talked about, all the way through this segment, we've talked about forgiving yourself. I mean, I feel like that has been a kind of a topic underneath everything that we've talked about is, you got to forgive yourself, and you got to, get the worry out, get it down on paper, and start thinking ahead.
Yeah.
Like, what do you want to be? Bigger,
Yeah.
You're more than your job. You want to do more in your life. I think that what I'm taking away from this is obviously the excavation and the replenish, but also the other thing is the fact that I can call myself divine, and not like divine from 1980s.
Listen, she was one of the most celebrated queens on the planet. Go ahead and be divine.
Not divine.
Yeah. You are.
Listen, that's not bad.
On a greater level, divine. Absolutely. And yes, you can give yourself permission to do that.
And I think that's really important, that as small business owners, or as business owners, or as people in this industry, we're not perfect. We're not going to get everything right. It's not going to happen overnight. Things do take time. You're going to miss stuff. Let it go.
Things will happen. See, let me comment on that real quick, because there's so many times where me and Keith are at an event or doing a wedding, and then shitstorm happens, and we've got to put out the fire real fast, right? So that no one knows what's going on.
Right.
And then magic happens out of nowhere, right? And then that's when Keith and I look at each other and at the same time say, this is why we do what we do.
100%.
Because that can happen, and then in 10 seconds, look at the magic and look at the beauty and the magnificence of this. And so therefore, and I was just brought into this whole wedding industry 3 years ago. Hospitality, June 7th, I celebrated my 25th anniversary. So I'm very from back where Keith was too. So I'm new to all this. This is, newish. I learned fast.
But you hit it right on the head, though. I mean, there's that moment that happens when we do events where the couple is something magical happens, and yes, the paycheck is great, but when a couple comes up to you at the end of the night and cannot control their joy when talking to you, that, oh my God, we cannot thank you enough for everything.
Especially when they're drunk enough and they think I'm Scarlett Johansson. That I love.
Exactly.
Oh, I see it though.
Boom.
But I see it though, Brooke. I see it. But you really don't have to be that
again,
drunk.
California, here I come.
Now that you said it, I can't unsee it.
But there's a magic there that happens at that moment that you just go, yeah, this is making these people's dreams come true is amazing. It's just amazing. I wish I could hold on to that feeling all the time.
Right.
You know what I used to do? I used to have a card, like an index card that I put in my pocket or in my purse, and it said, think pink. And it was like my code to myself, because pink's my favorite color.
Yeah.
And the color made me feel something, and it made me anchor into what that was, that
Right.
feeling. So you might think of something like whatever that feeling is for you and write it down, stick it in your wallet, and have it kind of surprise you with those reminders, because we can't be expected to remember everything. You're not going to remember it every single moment of your day, that you are divine and why you do this and oh, everything's fine. And That's not how life works. But you can give yourself little nudges that set yourself up for success. And I loved when I would do that. Now it's like, doesn't make sense. I don't go anywhere. So I was like, I don't even know. My leggings don't have pockets. But
honey, I'm wearing shorts.
That's
on
just
this
a crime.
jacket, so you know.
I got a passion for fashion.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but setting yourself up for things like that to anchor in that feeling, because it is something that you want to have more often than not.
Love it. Well, that is our hour, Aleya. I mean, honestly, I know that this conversation went probably in a completely different direction than you were anticipating, but it was awesome. And
how much fun was she? I mean, I never
right?
cracked up in a fourth. I'm just
I love it. I mean, and I love your insight into just humanity, into our human nature, into being kind to yourself, and to the emotional side of the business. Not so much the analytical side, because we did talk about, handing off jobs to other people. But I really think that the core of our conversation today has been about being kind to yourself. And that if you're kind to yourself, you're going to be able to accomplish more.
Math is math and your heart is your heart. And sometimes math can wait a minute. Take care of that.
Aleya, thank you so much for being on the show. It was awesome. I hope you enjoyed it. Did you have a good time?
I had a blast. Thank you guys so much for having me. This has been super fun.
Oh, good. Oh, good. I'm so excited. Well, okay. So thank you again for being on the show, guys. We will be back next Tuesday at 2:00. I think next week I got Lynn Resnick. Anyway, be surprised. Tune in next Tuesday. And for now, everybody have a great day, and everybody say goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.